All right, I'm sorry to say that anybody that put any kind of money towards this Earl Spence versus Pacquiao fight, I'm sorry to say you got scammed, homie. It was all a fucking scam. This Pacquiao versus Spence fight was never gonna happen. After they announced that Earl Spence is injured and he got to pull out the fight, I'm like, oh yeah, this shit was definitely planned from the start. They used Earl Spence's name to sell you a Pacquiao versus Ugas fight. And they did it because they knew more people was going to pay for the fight ahead of time if they attached Spence's name to it rather than Ugas. And this ain't the only time this has happened. They have always went back and changed the main card at the last minute. So they don't have to pay the fighters that you think is going to be on the main card. So they saving money. When they take Spence off the card and replace him with Ugas, they saving millions. Or just like when Eddie Hearn scrapped the Granados versus Conor Ben fight just a few weeks ago. He saved money by doing that shit, bro. He don't got to pay the main two fighters what he was going to pay them. And you done already bought the subscription to DAZN if that's what you bought it for. If you bought it for specifically that fight, you done already bought it. Ain't no refund. That's why they do this shit at the last minute. They tell you they switching the card at the last minute. But that's actually what the card was supposed to be in the first place. They only switch it at the last minute because they knew that you wasn't going to pay for the shit if you knew this was the actual card that you was buying, right? If you knew you was paying for Lee Wood versus Zucan, it'd be much less people willing to pay for that shit, right? The same with Bob Arum and the Joe Smith Jr. fight. I think it was Joe Smith versus Glaskov or something like that. At the last minute, they scrapped that fight and made Richard Comey versus Marinas the main card. Now, you think I would have paid my money for ESPN Plus if I knew that shit ahead of time? Fuck no. They do this shit on purpose. They want your cash in their hand before they tell you what you're getting. Not the other way around. That's how they make this money that they be making. They be scamming the shit out of y'all. They probably make the most money off of these little scams they be pulling rather than just straight up fights that we know what we getting and we know what we paying for. They make more money this way. And it's funny, it took for Michael Fox to get robbed, and then in that same fight he had a situation where the fighter was tampering with his gloves. So you had those two situations and one fight happened. And then all of a sudden the Earl Spence thing happened with his eye injury. And now all of a sudden the whole YouTube boxing community turned conspiracy theorists overnight. Now all of a sudden the same shit I've been talking about for the past 2 years, now all of a sudden corruption exists in y'all mind. But when we was talking about certain fighters cheating or when other fighters get injured, it's no questions asked. It's just we believe them when we move on. But since all of this shit is connected to the PBC, like the Caleb Plant negotiations, everybody speculating left and right. You got the Spence eye injury, everybody speculating. Michael Fox situation with the gloves and the robbery, everybody speculating. The Charlo cards versus Castano, everybody speculating. Now all of a sudden you niggas is conspiracy theorists. Now all of a sudden it's cool to speculate. But I've been doing this shit for the past 2 years, and a lot of you same motherfuckers that's speculating right now when it comes to these PBC situations, a cat must have had your fucking tongue these past 2 years when all the other corrupt shit was going on, like Kovalev taking dives and shit. You want to talk about Kovalev taking a dive, and motherfuckers will act like you talking blasphemy. But these same motherfuckers will turn around and talk about Wilder and Malik Scott and that fight being fixed. So you motherfuckers only believe corruption exists when it's convenient for you or when it's the hot topic. Me, I've been doing this shit, exposing corruption for almost 2 years on YouTube now.